But again, this is Narendra Kumar, and in this series of 10th class English NCERT India, we have our fourth lesson today, and it is called From the Diary of Anne Frank. Many people know this is a very famous diary which Anne Frank wrote when she had to stay in a room for 2 years while the Nazi was searching for Jews to kill them. And then she was finally found, and terribly tragically, her father was saved, but she died. She contracted an illness, and then he found her diary. She was writing a lot of diary while she was alone, living with many people, alone, hiding. Uh, and he felt that this diary has got so much worth. He was right. This has become an iconic book, and it is also a damnation of totalitarianism, dictatorship. It is very relevant today, I believe. I would not say more than that. I won't come between you and the young and Frank. It hardly looks young. Our English was very advanced. You will see as I read out. So, writing in a diary is a really strange experience for someone like me. Not only because I've never written anything before, but also because it seems to me that later on, neither I nor anyone else will be interested in the musing means reflections of a 13-year old and schoolgirl. Oh well, it doesn't matter. I feel like writing, and I have an even greater need to get all kinds of things off my chest, unload it. Paper has more patience than people, I thought. Of this saying on one of those days when I was feeling a little depressed. And was sitting at home with my chin in my hands, like sitting at home with chin in my hands, bored, bored and listless. Bored and listless. Listless. A beautiful word. Listless means you're distracted, don't know what to do. Wondering whether to stay in or go out. I finally stayed where I was brooding. Brooding means feeling bad inside oneself. Yes, paper does have more patience. And since I'm not planning to let anyone else read this stiff backed, stiff backed notebook, grandly referred to as a diary, unless I should ever find a real friend, it probably won't make a bit of a difference. Let's look at this sentence, long sentence. Yes, paper does have more patience, and since I'm not planning to let anyone else read the stiff backed notebook, grandly referred to as a diary, unless I should ever find a real friend, it probably won't make a bit of difference. So when you reread a sentence, you get it fully. Simple as that. Now I'm back to the point that prompted me to keep a diary in the first place. I don't have a friend. I don't have a friend. Let me put it more clearly. Since no one will believe that a 13-year-old is completely alone in the world, and I'm not. And I'm not. I have loving friends and a 16-year-old sister, and there are about 30 people I can call friends. I have a family, loving aunts, and a good home. No, on the surface, I seem to have everything. On the surface, I seem to have everything except my one true friend. Strange, no? How clear and how deep she is. All I think about when I am with friends is having a good time. I can't bring myself to talk about anything but ordinary, everyday things. We don't seem to be able to get any closer. We don't seem to be able to get any closer. And that's the problem. You don't know how in life you slightly talk a little deep and they get all. She is experiencing that. She's begun to experience that. It happens, to intelligent youngsters. Maybe it's my fault that we don't confide in each other, tell our secrets. Confide means tell each other secrets in each other. In any case, that's just how things are, and unfortunate. That's how things are. At 13 only, she has accepted the world, and unfortunately, they're not liable to change. At 13, she has accepted the whole world, matured. This is why I have started the diary. How beautifully and clearly she explained. to enhance the image of this long awaited friend in my imagination, I don't want to jot down the facts in this diary the way most people would do, but I want the diary to be my best friend, to be my friend, and I'm going to call this friend Kitty. Kitty. She's calling the friend Kitty. Since no one would understand a word of my stories, to Kitty, if I were to plunge right in, I'd better provide a brief sketch of my life, much as I dislike doing so. My father is the most adorable father. She loves her father. Adorable, wonderful. You can adore him. You just love him. I have ever seen. Um, my father, the most adorable father I've ever seen, didn't marry my mother until he was 36 and she was 25. My sister Margot was born in Frankfurt in Germany in 1926. I was born on 12th June 1929. I lived in Frankfurt until I was 4. Frankfurt. My father emigrated to Holland in 1933. Get the dates right. 1933, right? My mother, Edith Hollander Frank, went with him to Holland in September, while Margot and I were sent to Aachen, Aachen, to stay with our grandmother. Margot went to Holland in December, and I followed in February when I was plunked down on the table as a birthday present for Margot. I started right away at the Montessori Nursing School. I stayed there until I was 6, at which time I started in the first class. In the sixth form, my teacher was Mrs. Kupiras, Kuperus. I'm not sure the pronunciation is right. Kupiras, the headmistress. At the end of the year, we were both in tears as we said a heartbreaking farewell. In the summer of 1941, Grandma fell ill and had to have an operation. So my birthday passed with little celebration. Grandma died in January 1942. No one knows how often I think of her and still love her. This birthday celebrations in 1942 was intended to make up for the others, and Grandma's candle was lit along with the rest. The four of us are still doing well, and that brings me to the present date of 20th June 1942 and the solemn dedication of my diary. Now, the diary. Dearest Kitty, she's writing in her own diary. Today, she's writing about her event today. She has given an introduction. Dearest Kitty, our entire class is quaking in its boots. Quaking in its boots. The reason quaking is shaking with fear and nervousness. There's a meaning given here. Our entire class is quaking in its boots. The reason, of course, is the forthcoming meeting in which the teachers decide who will move up to the next form and who will be kept back. Half the class is making bets. GN, the name. And I laugh ourselves silly at the two boys behind us, CN and Jacques, who have staked their entire holiday savings on their bet from morning to night. It's you're going to pass. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. Even G apostrophe S. She's given a one letter short name. G's pleading glances, like that, pleading glances, uh, and my angry outbursts, shouting out, can't calm them down. If you ask me, there are so many dummies that about a quarter of the class should be kept back. She does say. But teachers are the most unpredictable creatures on earth. You can't predict what teachers will do. I'm not so worried about my girlfriends and myself. We'll make it. The only subject I'm not sure about is maths. Anyway, all we can do is wait. Until then, we keep telling each other not to lose heart, not to lose heart, not to give up. I get along pretty well with all my teachers. There are 9 of them, 7 men and 2 women. Mr. Keesing, the old fogey, old fogey, FOGEY, crazy guy who teaches maths, was annoyed with me for ages because I talked so much. After several warnings, he gave me extra homework, an essay on the subject, a chatterbox. He gave her a essay to write on chatterbox. A chatterbox? What can you write about that? I'd worry about that later. I decided. I jotted down that title in my notebook, tucked it, put it. in my bag and tried to keep quiet. That evening, after I had finished the rest of my homework, the note about the essay caught my eye. I began thinking about, he had given the homework, you write an essay on chatterbox. I began thinking about the subject while chewing the tip of my fountain pen. Anyone could ramble on and leave big spaces between the words, but the trick was to come up with convincing arguments to prove the necessity of talking. I thought, and suddenly I had an idea. I wrote the 3 pages Mr. Keesing had assigned me and was satisfied. I argued that talking is a student's trait trait, which means it's his nature, one of the things about his nature, and that I would do my best to keep it under control. But that I would never be able to cure myself of this habit since my mother talked as much as I did, if not more, and that there's not much you can do about inherited traits. She got it from her mother, she says. Mr. Keesing had a good laugh at my arguments, but when I proceeded to talk my way through the next lesson, he assigned me a second essay. This time it was supposed to be on an incorrigible chatterbox. Incorrigible means somebody who cannot be changed. You can't change. I handed it in, and Mr. Keesing had nothing to complain about for 2 whole lessons. However, during the third lesson, he had finally had enough. And Frank, as punishment for talking in class, write an essay entitled Quack, 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 said Mistress Chatterbox. That's the title of the essay. The class roared laughing. I had to laugh too, though I had nearly exhausted my ingenuity, like creativity, on the topic of chatterboxes. It was time to come up with something else, something original. My friend, Sani, Sane, who is good at poetry, offered to help me write the essay from beginning to end in verse, and I jumped for joy. Mr. Keesing was trying to play a joke on me with this ridiculous subject, but I'd make sure the joke was on him. You want to take revenge on him playfully. I finished my poem and it was beautiful. It was about a mother duck and a father swan with 3 baby ducklings who were bitten to death by the father because they quaked too much. Luckily, Mr. Keesing took the joke the right way. he read He read the poem to the class, adding his own comments and to several other classes as well. Since then, I have been allowed to talk. Since then, I have been allowed to talk and haven't been assigned any extra homework. On the contrary, Mr. Keesing's always making jokes these days. Yours, Annie. She's tying to her own diary. How beautiful. Don't you think so? 13-year-old, smart girl, deep girl, intelligent girl, observant girl, sensitive girl. Such are the young people. Every young person is actually, if you go deep enough like that, but somewhere they are hidden, right? Such a beautiful, endearing girl who died. Can you imagine? This is the, what should I say, indirect lesson, no? The cruelty of the world and the beauty of human beings. I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to come between you and Annie. I would, in fact, encourage you all to listen to this video again and again and again until you get the all the word, because otherwise you can't get it, the exact feel. And then you'll get the feel, and then you give a gap. You read alone also, and you read the whole book of Annie. The Diary of Anne Frank is one of the greatest books. This should be one of the books of the 100 books that you should all read. That is the purpose of our channel. Thank you.